It's a QE world after all. It's a QE world after all. And so, it's a QE world. And how many times do I say it? And eyes glaze over, and no one says, "What the hell's he talking about?" It's a QE world after all. And that's what it is. It's a QE world. And so what does that mean? It's quantitative easing. Campers, boys and girls. And I just want to play the theme from Disney at this point. It's a QE world after all. It's a QE world after all. And that's where we are. Hey, J.A., what's happening? Ups from comment in just a smile, laugh out loud. I wrote two things that looked to options that they look as very cheap alternative to insurance. They are insurance, not an alternative, with great potential to rewards. Exactly. Welcome to 1977. That's what it comes down to. It's a QE world after all. It's a QE world after all. And let's see. Oh, here's some more. Or combine two of them and combine the risk just to exact range. Exactly. Very good. I like that. It's a QE world after all. That's what we've got. Did you see HSBC, one of those that I'm always talking about, that's owned by the Exchequer, got a good deal. They bought the arm of the Silicon Valley Bank, in other words, a subsidiary, for $1.21. A bargain sale. $1.21 gets you a bank. Now, how about that one? That's pretty good. That's nothing's ever going to catch up to, I don't care what they say. Bear Stearns was the best. They paid $2 a share for Bear Stearns, and I don't know, maybe at the time that might have been like, $200 million. And they got the whole kit and caboodle. And they got the most cherished spot on Wall Street, property-wise. So, it's a QE world after all. It's a QE world after all. And that's all it comes down to at this point. So, let's see what the markets are doing, since fundamentals mean basically nothing. And what we knew of the banking system before it crashed in 2008 is all gone, as my granddaughter says, all gone, all gone, it's all gone. Hey, in the States, it only takes 2 cents to the dollar to open a bank. So, and all you really are in the end result is a subsidiary of the Federal Reserve. That's all right, And they give you money at night when you need it. And if you just protect the not the shareholders or the bondholders, obviously they're going to pay for the QE world after all. They're going to lose they've lost all their stock, and if there was that much out there to begin with. And the stock was trading at $300 a share at one point. So obviously, I don't know how many shares were outstanding, but I would guess maybe, half a billion or something like that. That's the way it is these times, And so maybe it was a billion would have been 300. Would that have made it 300 billion? Yeah, so maybe there was a billion shares outstanding, and the shareholders are zero. And the bondholders that own bonds of the bank itself are zero. They're gone. And like in England, the takeover was for $1.21. That's it. Not $1.21 a share, $1.21. So the chairman of the HSBC walks in, reaches in his pocket, if he has any, a quid, hands him a quid, £1, and boink, it's theirs, lock, stock, and barrel. It's a QE world after all. And I sit here and talk about the QE, every so often complain about it, talk about how, it's destroyed real banking, and it has, and hence, think about it. Think about the idea that Gold only went up about $60. That's it. So let's put gold up there. Let's put gold up on the screen. It's a QE world after all. I see right here. I'll go like that. And there is gold right there. And so what did it do? It went from 18, is that it? Oh, yeah, 1818 with a low of that day of 1817. And it's it's trading at 1900. It's up, yeah, $80 almost, $82. Geez, not bad, huh? And silver, same game. So in the end result, what's nice is they are playing with the weekly buy again. So there's the weekly buy being flirted with as we speak. They keep on lifting it up. Let's put a little circly thing there, like that, showing you that it could go into a weekly buy. See, that's the name of the game, really. And then, did our math? No. Well, obviously it did. It picked it up on Friday and galloped up even more. And then silver, which was even more funnish. It's a QE world after all. They came in on Friday. Oh, that's got to be fixed too. Same thing. A day. Let's fix that. There we go. There we are. And it's pushing up. Not going through the weekly on silver, though. You can see that. But it's playing with it. It's interesting. Very interesting. So, what else can we say about any of this? It's a QE world after all. It's so nice, isn't it? All right, let's go take a look at the currencies. The best one, I went to look at the Swiss when all this noise was happening, and I thought, well, let's see what they're doing. Oh, JA's really rolling. I like that. Hey, Robin, how you doing? Let's see. JA says QW World. Money from the helicopter. No, it's just an accounting thing. Yes. Okay, yeah, you could call it money from a helicopter, but not everybody gets it. If it was from a helicopter, everybody got it. Instead, they line up they just, it's what do they call that? Like an Excel sheet, and they send money over to them, and that's it. When it comes to helicopter money, I guess you could say that was all that money that had to be applied for during the COVID fake out. That's what I call it, the COVID fake out. Let's take a look at that. I want a bank also, right? I agree. Only 2 cents on the dollar to get one. This one had 3 cents on the dollar, I understand. Made money on Monta and Bank, both banks in start of pandemic that was in discount. Smart. Yep, like fixed dollar like was before in Nixon years. No, they're never going to fix the dollar again. The dollar's going to be a floater. Now, the Federal Reserve is going to abuse it. They'll come in and do things that make the dollar go up or down at times. But fixed, I guess you could call that fixed. But all the central banks across the planet keep their currencies fixed. Hell, the Chinese are so scared of their currency, they don't even let it float. So, there's all kinds of ways of trying to describe it. I guess you could say you're right, J.A., it is like a fix on some level. It's just more sophisticated than what a fix would look like back in 77. The idea was to remove... let's get rid of that. Did I save it? Is this silver? Yeah, it's silver. I want to save that. There we go. The idea is to get rid of... what are they getting rid of? Let me think what I was talking about. Oh, so what they did is that you couldn't convert gold in dollars into gold anymore. And so, that just opened the doorway for paper printing. And that was all right. For a long time, we were very concerned about that. And then QE came along in 2008, and it was thrown out the window. So how long did it really last? 38 years? when did Bretton Woods get shifted? 68, 67. Let's see. So Nixon got elected in 68. So 69 or something like that. So I guess you could say 60, 64, 60. Yeah, 68. So let's say since Bretton Woods was dismantled, which was only... How long did Bretton Woods only lasted, what? 15 years? 20 years? People always talk like Bretton Woods was around for like 5 centuries or something like that. Everybody likes to pretend that Bretton Woods and the gold conversion and all that stuff internationally and all like that was around for like 3 centuries. It wasn't. I mean, gold has been around for a couple millennia, of course. 3 or 4 millennia. Copper coins. Lady Jane. Was it Lady Jane when she became queen for like an hour or two? In what, 15 and change? 15 after Henry VIII died and all that confusion, and she converted the pound from copper to silver. So you have that, Lady Jane. I used to try to remind. What's the guy that does Elliott Wave now? The modern guy. I can't think who's in. There's a famous guy to the retail that does Bob Prechter. That's it. I used to say to Bob, why do you start at 16? He starts his charts off in 16th century, 17th century for the stock market in England, and then he follows it through to the United States in 1776. And I used to say to him, why do you start there? Why don't you start like 100 years earlier after, go to Lady Jane when she switched the pound from copper to silver. And I always get silence. So it's a QE world after all. It's a QE world after all. Disney can do it all. Hey, Bob, how you doing? Yep, like a dollar was before Nixon. Yeah, dollar was around before Nixon. And then what happened was President de Gaulle was threatening to convert his French francs, to gold. He had like $3 billion worth of dollars, and he was going to convert them from dollars, not French francs, but I guess he had $3 billion. He had $3 billion worth of dollars, and he didn't want to convert them to French francs. He wanted gold, and so what they did is they before he could go to the bank, go to the Treasury to convert, the British tipped off the Americans about a month and a half before it was going to happen. And de Gaulle said, I'm going to send a battleship to New York Harbor, and they can load my gold up in the ship, And $3 billion was a lot of money back then. And so it wasn't our financial Disney world we are in today, where it's a QE world after all. And they what are they doing? They're compensating 21 minus 300 is 279. So they're gonna give $279 billion to the depositors, and that's what they're gonna do. It's a QE world after all. Bob's your uncle. Mm-hmm. Yep, Northern London type of saying, So, money is going to be... I'm waiting for Jojo the monkey to come out. He's supposed to come out and talk. For us who live near Joe and had to put up with Joe for like almost 50 years, unfortunately I can't vote for him or not, one way or the other, because he's just across the border. But in our legislature, in our state, they refer to us as Northern Delaware. But anyway, because we're the bottom counties, and so a lot of people go into Delaware to shop. So Delaware is nothing. I can see Delaware from a distance, when I'm in the car, And so Jojo, I like to think of him as Jojo the monkey. Ever since he started stealing Neil Kinnock speeches, That's when I started calling him JoJo the monkey. But anyway, JoJo is going to speak about something. I hope they're probably trying to convince him to understand it. It's not a bailout, because the moment he says it's a bailout, then they're going to have to walk it back. So it's going to be fun. It's always fun. QE World is always fun. Little wings on the money. They could make a cartoon and put little wings on dollar bills. That'd be neat. They kind of like little fairies. Dollar bill fairies. So it is like a fixed dollar on some level. But in a monetary way. Because, you can see the dip or the rise of the product against other products, a pound, so forth. Whereas I bet, did they even move? I bet they didn't even move the Chinese yuan. I bet it didn't even move. I bet somebody forgot to tell them to move it. Let's see where the yen is. Let's see how the yen acted. Let's see. It's a QE world after all. No, I want to go right there. There we are. See, there's the Swiss. I was like, yes, the Swiss is acting right for a change. It's like looking like the hey-man that it is, the Swiss. And then we go and take a look at the yen. There's the yen. Yeah, the yen's backing off nicely. And then we'll go over to, I don't even think I even have the, let's see if I have the Chinese yuan on the charts here. Let's see, there's CAD. Now let's look at it on J4X. Let's see if someone woke up somebody to say, hey, comrade, fix the currency, make it work, make it look like we're part of the gang, or at least we're a financial product. Let's see, let's go find it. Chinese yuan. So I guess I got to go here. Where do I go? Here. USD. And then we want the yuan. Anybody know what the yuan symbol is? Let's see. Yuan. Is it C maybe? I think it's C, right? So if I go a slash, is it? Let's see. Yeah, slash. So I go slash. Ah, there we go. CAD, Swiss. There it is. Chinese currency yuan. Yuan. Oh, look at this. I think they moved it. Look at that. They're moving it. From 6.92 to 6.86. Cool. Okay, so someone woke up about it. That's neat. All right. Acting like bankers. I like that. Yep. Doing the same thing. They're following. Someone's finally following. Wasn't it funny when the inflation thing got going and no one told them to fix it for inflation? And for like 3 months, the currency was just dead. And then they had to adjust it for inflation out of nowhere. So yeah, they're doing the same. Good for you. Good for you, China. That's right. Look at that. Got to make it look like it's floating. It's like the pretend float, Let's see let's make a bigger picture of it. Yeah, it's nice. Where's it? Where's the highs here? 737. It fell down to 669, which is divine. And then we're back to 687. Cool. All right. Nice. So even the Chinese yuan knows to act right. Very good. Very, very good. All right. What else can we say about it's a QE world after all? Let's see. I'm waiting to hear what the deal is for the Silicon Bank. I can't wait to hear that. I don't know who's got it. I didn't see any headlines yet, but I'm sure someone already is owning it. For I don't know. Right now it's in receivership. I know Elon Musk said he wanted it. They're not going to let him have it. Trust me. I would think banks like this have Democrat Party money in it. Not just Democrats, but Democrat Party money. All right. Where do we go from here? I guess we go through the list. There's the euro. There's the euro right there, and it's at the highs of the week. The last 5 days. That's cool. We're going to buy now for a second day. And the weekly is trying to pick up, and you can see the fast algo has pushed through. Nice. And then, JA. So what are you going to do? You found out what an option is. What are you going to do next? Are you going to start asking real questions about how they work and so forth, or do you already understand all that? It sounds like you understand them already. Seems like you are advanced, even when you say you are a new time trader. Sounds like you're advanced, so this is good. Or you're just a fast learner. Maybe you're a fast learner. I think you're a fast learner. So, you have any questions on options? You described them very well. Very sophisticatedly. I like that. I will now start playing with stochastics. Oh, yeah. Do the fast and the slow against each other. Do the fast and the slow against each other. And then go from there. And then and you described the options perfectly. So you have that comprehension of it. That's really cool. Okay. So, figure something out, like a strategy, like, in other words, if I buy Swiss, what do I do with the option? If I buy the options in Swiss, what do I do with them? You seem to already know that. So, pretty good for a beginner. I like that. That's very good. Let's see. We could always talk about how you marry together the hard delta with the soft delta. That's cool. That would be a learning lesson for most. We like to refer to that as a straddle, no matter what. So there's many forms of straddles, and so marrying the option to the spot, or what I like to refer to as the hard delta itself, since it can't change, only in price, not in delta, whereas options can change in delta and price. So throw something out there over whatever time period, be it today, tomorrow, or whatever, and we will do a little option conversation. And after it, paper trading, and after it, live. Yeah, basically that's the way it goes. And so, I was thinking, let's have a little option conversation right now about the Silicon Bank. I thought to myself, how could you keep billions of dollars as an investor in a deposited bank like that and not have collars on? Collars are when you sell the call and buy the put on the stock of the bank itself. And if they were forced to do that, then nobody would have to have a Disney World type of financial system. There wouldn't be a QE world after all. And remember, QE is here to guarantee all banks stay solvent. That's what it's here for. And so when a bank screws up like this, don't you think they should go to jail? I think they should go to jail, but they don't. Instead, they get bailed out. And it's a QE. They really didn't mean to ask Rumpelstiltskin to print gold, and they didn't really mean to want to make all that money for years, and then when they lost it, it was just a mistake. It's just a simple, ordinary mistake. And so you would think that people in charge would be forced to basically give every dime they have and have to start over again. In other words, their houses, their cars, everything. To me, that would be the real way of dealing with this. And then forcing anybody that has $1 billion in a bank, at the same time, write a rule that says you have to have collars on the stock that equals to a $1 billion. So in other words, if the stock is trading at $300 a share and you have a collar on and the stock goes to zero, you make $1 billion on your collar option trade, which a collar is selling the call and buying the put. I would think that would be the way to go all the time. And so you have to take a little risk. But if they're going to constantly keep us living in the Disney world of finance, then there is no risk. Little dollars, little wings on them, just flying around. Playtime. Playtime. All right, let's take a look at the rest of this marketplace. Because JoJo hasn't... They got a picture of JoJo's briefing room. I guess it's off the Oval Office. And so they're not even going to let him near anybody to talk to. Oh! Someone just came out of the door. Nope, not yet. I think they're going over to check the mic. They put down a book where the podium is. So they're double checking what's in the podium to make sure. And I don't know who the reporters will be there, if they're allowed any reporters. And just waiting for JoJo's bank comments. Cool. If you noticed, let's just show you one more thing about the fantasy world that we live in. Check this out. This is the Tech 100. Let's go to the Tech 100. And it's still plus throughout the day and night. It was flying at one point. I mean, it was rocketed. No, it's down now a little bit. How about that? Is that it? No, that's the S&P 500. That is down. Oh, they've taken the Tech one down. Okay, because I just before I started the webinar, it was still up for the day like 50 points. It had been up like 100 and some odd points. Right now, the Tech 100 is down. Now it's down 50 points. Okay, so they got to make it look real. So they got, for a while, the tech stocks were just flying this morning and last night. I mean, the Dow, I think they had the S&P 500 up 80 points. Now it's down 26 points. So they got to make this look real, So knock them down a little bit. Yeah, so JA, I would say that they should force them to do collars. If you make a banking rule. If you have more than $1 million in a bank, you have to have a collar on their stock on at the same time. That's all. That would make sense. Maybe they shouldn't have over the limit. Maybe that just tells you that people with billions of dollars are not real. Maybe that's what that tells us more than anything else. What do I mean by that? Maybe there are more insiders than we realize going on. I mean, there's trillions of dollars out the door in the government. How do we don't know? I mean, Democrats are in the polls for years now, really minus to the Republicans. Republicans are polling enormously big, but somehow or another, they spend 4 or 5 times more than the Republicans do in elections. So maybe it's government money. That might be the answer right there. I mean, look at the SEC and the CFTC. You can see how incompetent they are. They can't, no matter how many times they flood money into the system, they still can't make it work. They can only make it survive. Let's see. You like that, huh? Good, Jay. I think collars would make a lot of sense. I've been telling people that for decades. They should force them to do this, especially after QE. After the politicians learned that they could keep QE forever as a pet animal. All right. Let's go from there. There's copper down. Let's go over to, and look at that. So I guess that's the industrial side of the noise. So copper is down right now. But the algorithm hasn't broken down, but the weekly is still in its weekly sell. Now let's go over to the currencies again. And let's look at the British pound. Pound's been lifting for a couple of days already, so not much of a surprise there. Yeah, and did it close in the week? I think it just missed the weekly buy. Let's see where it was at. Yeah, it was just missed the weekly buy by the hair of its chinny chin. Minus 0.00010. Just a hair to get into that weekly buy. Now the fast had the same issues. Was the fast slower? Let's see. Fast was, minus 0.00028. Okay, JoJo's still not on yet. They have a headline up like, On futures down on bank failures. There's no failure. They just took it over. Regulators shut down crypto-focused Signature Bank. Okay. All right. But Coin and the rest of them are still functioning. All right. Now, there's the cable. Looking firm. It's in the daily buy for a day. This is going on a second day. The weekly is through the zero line. That's pretty cool. We'll see how far this stuff really goes. And the dollar index, I guess I would assume. Did we start off with the index? It was such a traumatic start of the day because I found out that we live in a QE world after all. And there's the Swiss. We looked at that. That's looking right. At least Swiss is acting like it should act. Thank goodness. I mean, it closed in a weekly sell last week. We were like, Swiss was starting to act like the Chinese yuan. It was getting weird. I'm glad it's back to normal there. I mean, them and the yen were like walking in lockstep. It was like, this is strange. And how many times I've mumbled that in the webinars over the last few months. I guess I saw something that was really interesting. It was like the foreign minister of Switzerland was meeting with the prime minister of Japan last week. And I didn't mention it. I thought it was kind of fun though. That after the fact, when everything seemed to be all cleaned up, they kind of get together. I own a whole Earth. I own a whole Earth, Doc. Million is nothing for me. Laugh out loud. Okay. A whole Earth. Is it in our solar system? Is the Earth that you own, is it in our solar system or in another solar system? Or is it one of the moons around? Ganymede is like Earth, or one of the moons off of Jupiter that we believe used to orbit Saturn. So you can move those things around also at the same time. If you own an Earth, is it in our solar system or in somebody else's solar system? Looking forward to the answer to that one. Let's see. From there we go to the yen, and we did look at the yen. That's doing the same thing as the Swiss. They do seem to work a lot together nowadays. But notice the Swiss is in a weekly sell. Let's just go back to that for a sec. It's underneath the zero line right there. It closed in the weekly sell last week. And the yen, not so much. It's dipping. It's playing with the nonlinear time manifold with the green line. The fast broke down this morning. See that? It's broken down below. So, just in fantasy, I think. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you see the James Webb now, basically looking into other solar systems, and the Barnard star that's near us, it's like 7 or 8 light years away. You can see their solar systems and so forth. There's billions and billions and billions of solar systems, and there's probably a billion Earths out there. I would say that a category M-class planet, I think they like to call it in Star Trek. There are billions of M-class planets out there, other Earths. So let's drift over to the Turkish lira. Let's see what that's trying to tell us. I saw that on see that there, on Friday they went hinky again on it. Let's go check it out on J4X. You see the hinky just right there, right? Okay. And let's try it again. J4X. And let's take a look at Euro Turkish lira, like so. Yeah, kick that puppy up. Kick that pig. Oh, wait a minute. It's a Muslim state. Can't say that. Kick that puppy. And so it's getting a little wild and woolly. Let's see if we can turn this off for a second. The hinky. And so it made that wild move there. That's cool. Let's turn the hinky back on. Your budget, it's under $1 million for what? Buying what? Property or trading or cars? Your budget for just made some fun. Oh, okay. Yeah, I just your budget's under $1 million on some area of spending, or your whole budget for the year is under $1 million. Could be that too. It's a QE world after all. Let's see. Let's go over to. Let's do it on J4X first. Let's go take a look at the CAD. Dollar CAD. Let's see. Dollar CAD. Dollar CAD. There it is. And then we'll stick over here. We'll go put oil up there like so. So, where are you? Oil. Earl. There's the Earl. Duke of Earl. Woohoo! Look at that. Smack that puppy. Knocking that puppy down. I understand that they're going to open up the Alaska project for Shell. I guess it's Royal Dutch Shell. And figures probably somebody outside the country. So they can... JoJo. Oh, I heard over the weekend. This is all part of it probably. JoJo and his son and his brother and his family... they have all these bank statements that show that they get money from the CCP in China. That should be entertaining. The media won't talk about it, so it won't matter. Just a few. The Congress will do an investigation. The media won't cover it. And the Disney World keeps on marching forward. Nope, my budget is under $1 million. Just made some. Okay, that's cool. I'm a fun type guy. I like fun. Fun. Sounds like a Beach Boys song. Diddle 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 diddle. All right, so there's crude oil. It's going down, and that means that the Canadian normally... Where's Canadian at? Oh, Canadian is trying to go down too. And that's what usually happens. Canadian goes down. Let's get rid of the hinkies for a second. And so it's trying to go down too. That's what it's supposed to do. So when oil goes down, no, you know what? It's supposed to go up. The Canadian's supposed to go up when oil goes down. And it's just joining in with the rest of the gang of currencies, pushing the dollar down a little bit. Dollar has to adjust. You know, I imagine that with the bailout, they will adjust the dollar on some level. Something we don't see, we just don't know. But we do know, we see it in price. It's kind of like my math. We see objects moving on something, but we just don't know what it's moving on. And it's the same thing here. We see the dollar going down, but we don't know why it's going down, except for we know that there's more sellers than buyers. And that's about it. But it doesn't tell us why there's more sellers than buyers. You know, the uncertainty, I guess that could be it. The uncertainty of it all, you know. Let's see. Let's go over to the South African Rand, which, due to the fact that gold is up $80 over 3 days, you would have to assume, see that? Zoom, 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 right there. It's going up. We'll go over to J4X and put the South African Rand up on the screen. Right there. And it's going down what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to go down when gold goes up. And it goes up when gold goes down. That's the way it's supposed to work. And that's what's happening right there. And then we can go like that. And you can see the hinkies. Or not the hinky. Yeah, the hinky ashkies. And you can see our fast. Here you go, JA. Right there. There's your fast stochastic breaking down the green line versus the slow stochastic. And you can see it's a really good indicator. And if you run the correlation between MACD and these two stochastics as one, treating them as one, then what happens is that you get this action. You know, you see that. So it's a good tool, very good tool. I use it to smooth my algorithm out, which that's why you see the natural correlation. Coordination and correlation. But let's go take a look at that. Let's go take a look at that. Where is it at? Scroll down. Nope, it's got to be up right there. So there's gold. And you can see our daily turned here 5 days ago, I guess 4 days ago, right? And you can see here, when is that? That is the 9th. That's Thursday. And that is Wednesday, I guess. Yeah, so that's Wednesday. So you see our little bottom started there, and then you see it curving there, and it's still running up. And so you can see the fast stochastic smooths my algorithm and makes it even more efficient. Like, you want gaps between buys and sells. This way you can ride trends. And then we do the same thing on the weekly. And let's take a look at this on the weekly. Weekly right there. And so you can see it does the same curve. In this case here, it started on the Feb. Is that the 20th? When is that? Yeah, the 20th, okay. And then our bottom was the week of Feb 20 also. See that? It curves up with it. And then we get through the zero line. The fast gets through the zero line last week. And I guess that would be right there. That's the 27th. The beginning of the 27th. Is that right? Yeah, that's Monday of last week, like ours. So, and then we follow the slow because we always kind of, since we're doing a webinar and we're talking about longer term trends like dailies and weeklies, so it smooths it out. So we don't try to push anything more than that around here. In other words, we don't try to emphasize it because people are trying to invest more in whatever way they invest. Now, I would obviously suggest marrying an option to a lot of this stuff, but that's just me. Yep, looking on it exactly. Cool. All right, let's see. From there, I'll tell you, it's well worth, looking at the MACD and the RSI and so forth and comparing it to the two stochastics battling with each other. That is amazing. I mean, we've done that here half a dozen times. So if you come up with something you want us to show the gang here, the trading, the cyber trading pit here, we'll go put it up on the screen and try to, analyze it with you if you care to. As I sip my tea for the umpteenth time, and this time the lid made crackly noise. All right, I guess we go just take a look at the peso. Let's see what they're doing with the peso. Things are getting a little weirder down there, but you never know. Just because of the kidnapping of those people, that's got people freaked out, freaky deaky. Now let's look at peso. There's the peso. And wow, zoom, bang, heading towards the white line is the old established for like 3 years now, like the bottom type of thing. It slipped underneath there just recently. Every time JoJo interferes, it freaks him out. But in this case here, wow, this is hot and heavy. Cool. So it's been in a buy since Thursday. And let's pull this down. And it is cleanly today through the weekly. Look at these things. When these things get up to the manifold, that is almost like a guaranteed 99%. Our math is usually between 85 and almost 90 accurate. But when you get that signal turns into like a 99% of the time. I can't remember the last time I've seen the green slow algorithm and the fast blue algorithm go through the top, the nonlinear right here, this line right there, the nonlinear time manifold, and bust through it like that. Because what that is doing is taking my math, and what I do is I take a standard deviation of it and compared to a standard deviation of the price itself, like when you look at Bollinger Bands. So that's what that is, and that's the standard deviation. That's why it's like a mirror image going on. And so that's kind of interesting to see them really rip that puppy the way they're ripping it. Kick that pig! I liked my pigs. I had nice pigs. Popcorn and Swirly were good pets. They were my pig dozers. They would eat everything and anything. Sticker bushes, poison ivy. They would root everything up. It made everything easy to farm afterwards. After they got done tearing apart a piece of property, I would just wire them off to another area, and you could just grow plants in there, like, vegetables. It was like, oh my God. It was great vegetables. All right. From the peso, we're done with the currencies, unless someone wants to see something in Currencyville, and we will drift to Fairyland now. Let's go over and look at the metals market. That's Fairyland, because the world economy is having issues, and what do? They take gold up a whole $80 over 4 days. Oh boy, talk about flight to safety, huh? Not. All right, and there is the gold in front of our eyes, and we've seen that. And they realized, I guess, over the last 48 hours of trading, in other words, Friday they put it into the buy, and today it's Zoom to the moon, Alice, which I understand an astronaut did find Alice on the moon. All right, but they did not, since Jackie Gleason is passed on, they couldn't arrest him. Let's see. From there, we go look at Silverado, and we saw silver doing some things the same way. Zip Zowie, and it can't get into the weekly as well as the gold. And I guess that's the gold is the more favored product of choice. You see, that's through the weekly at the moment. And boy, if this green line gets through the manifold there, that'll tell us a real story. Now, from there, we can take a look at the industrial metal. There is copper off a little bit for the day, but still in the daily buy. But the weekly cannot seem to get its game together. Not even the fast-moving algo is just up to the edge. But it's not there yet. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? There we go. We'll just put it up on the right side of the screen. You can see that. It is. It's a plus. It's a through now. It is 0.0038373835. It's through the zero line. So it's trying to get through, and it's obviously through the negative manifold there. I will focus on stochastics plus MACD. Yeah, just work them over for a little bit. Yeah, that's exactly it. Oh, yeah, I looked at the Bollinger today, but don't like how they make price graph messy. Yeah, I hear you. I always thought, John came up with a good idea using the standard. We were talking about standard deviations back in the 80s, and I used to do his TV show every other week. I was on the Guru Review, and that's what made me learn about John Murphy. John Murphy was an interesting fellow. And, he has a big book out. That's another one, J.A. Look at John Murphy's book. He has about 5 or 6 books out there. It's technical analysis. Let's see if we can put it up on the screen. I usually recommend that to anybody that says they want to understand, trading intraday and daily and so forth. It's definitely worth, let me see. I think I have it bookmarked too. Let's see. Ooh, let's see who rang me there. Let's see. Somebody dinged me. I guess that's what that is. Oh, it's a thumbs up. Okay. And let's see. Yeah, John Murphy, great market technician, and he wrote like an encyclopedia or a dictionary of technical analysis. Done a great job, Let's see. John Murphy. I want to say he worked for, I forget who he worked for. C.J. Lawrence, I think, or something like that. Tech. Oh, here's a picture of him, too, on this one. There we go. Oh, wow. That's when he was young? Oh, my God. There we go. John Murphy. Yeah, I knew him from these years. That's a weird picture. Technical analysis. And, he wrote dozens of, I guess he created a book back in the late 80s. There it is right there. Technical analysis of the financial markets. And, he wrote some really, and it gives you all the indicators. I don't agree with all of them because he was very connected to the Market Technicians Association, and I was always like a unofficial associate because my friend was president of it forever, Charlie Kirkpatrick. But they list MACD as a leading indicator, and they list stochastic as a lagging indicator. So there's leading indicators and there's lagging indicators and so forth. And when you put the two stochastics together, they supersede the MACD, but no one mentions that. So I should say that to Charlie. But anyway, it's well worth it. Market Technicians Association and John Murphy is well worth looking at technical analysis stuff. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, it's and you can buy an old one. Get a cheap one from off of Amazon or something like that, and then go from there. Like you can see it. I mean, his first book was in '97 of the technical analysis stuff. He talked about it for years that he was putting it together. I remember talking with him in the early '90s about it, and when I was doing the TV show, and so that's probably the way to go more than anything else. All right, let's move that off the screen. What else we got going on here? Oh yeah, so there's copper. Let's look at platinum. Let's see how platinum's being, how it's acting. There's platinum, and we saw that it did go into the buy on Friday, and it's doing the same thing as the gold Dorado. It's lifted through the zero line, and as you can see right there, it's at 6.48. 6.56, 6.44, 6.40, 6.44, 6.36, bouncing around. It's a trading market. And if this closes in a weekly buy, that could be, maybe it's a combination. They seem to, when Mr. Trump was president, Mnuchin would come out, and he was the Secretary of Treasury, and every quarter he would clarify that they had a way in the Treasury to measure if a country was manipulating their currency. Wow, talk about looking for the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. I don't know. How do you really define that? They would never clarify it, but at least he would actually make a statement about it. Okay, he would actually, and he would say, China is not manipulating its currency. He would say that, or he would blame somebody that was, like I forget who he blamed. I think one time he blamed the Exchequer for manipulating its currency for the quarter, but they never really made it clear what exactly was manipulation. That was the trick right there. And so, natural gas. Someone just sent me a picture of a natural gas ship. I like that. It's a QE world after all. And so, ever since JoJo became president, we don't really see that type of information, And so, you would assume that with the bailout, we go back into a 1960s, 70s type of mind, all right? This is not an insult at all. In other words, trying to be responsible. In other words, the central banks and the Federal Reserve, I'm just taking a guess at this. This is just my intellectual guess. There must be, they all know how much cash is flowing through the system, okay? All the central banks, the Federal Reserve, they know how much money is moving through it. I don't care if you want to, it's crypto or not. They know how it ends up. Okay, dollars, francs, whatever. They know where it's flowing to. And so they must have an envelope. I've talked about this on the webinars. There must be an envelope of price range that they follow. This is me spitting out my psycho ideas. And so every so often I spot the envelope, and I can actually identify it on some level when we're looking through my algorithms. And that's where we draw those lines on the charts, every so often, like the way I do with the Mexican peso against the dollar. And so there must be, with that mindset, okay? I know this sounds like me back in the nursing home, but when it moves outside the envelope, They must adjust the currencies. I mean, because we see it in the algorithm that they adjust the currency, so we can see the distortion. That's what it is. We see the distortion, and when we see the distortion, that must be them saying, okay, we're manipulating in a sense. That's what I think they define as manipulation. That's what I really think. When Mnuchin would come out, he wouldn't tell us what the manipulation was. He just said they were manipulating their currency. And so they must be watching an envelope. And I used to talk about this in the webinars. If you go back during the Trump years and on the quarterly reports by the Federal Reserve, not the Federal Reserve, I'm sorry, the Treasury Secretary, Mnuchin, he would come out and actually do a statement about it and do a news conference. And it was like something they monitored. That's the thing, is that they made it look like they monitored this. Matter of fact, they acted like they monitored it. They acted like it was an official measurement. And he would get on there and talk about it. But he wouldn't tell us what's going on. He would just tell us, like the way I tell you I'm in a buy signal or sell signal. I don't show you the math. I just show you the workings of it. And so they must right now be adjusting gold and adjusting the dollar to the dollar probably being moved out of the envelope. That's what I'm thinking. Does that make any sense to anybody? Or am I just rambling? Yeah, I think that's what it comes down to. Is I think that's how it works. So, if that makes sense to anybody, just give me a thumbs up or a smiley face. And if you think that sounds stupid, use one of those memes that shows that it's stupid. I don't. It doesn't bother me either way. I just want to see if I make any sense here or don't make sense. Anyhow, so from there, okay, what is it? JoJo is now over an hour and a half late. They got to wake him up. They got to march him out there so he can talk, act like he, they're probably pumping him with his vitamins, Pump him up. Give him the shot. Now he's got to wait. Give him a breakfast. And then we let him, go out there and read the book. I mean, that guy walked out there, an hour ago now. And we didn't see it. So, let's see, where am I at here? I got to switch over to there. There we are. Back to the screen. So, buy and read. So, going down together in real buying value. Yes. Yeah, exactly. So, what they do is they keep everything in an envelope, and then they can say, I got the book, reading it now. Cool. That's about the best way to look at it, is that currencies and metals and so forth are measured by the Federal Reserve in some type of price range envelope. I guess that's what it comes down to. And JA is like kicking wampum. He is kicking wampum, or she is kicking wampum, and doing all the work we suggest. It's really good. Let's see, what else is... Tim didn't come in today. Where's Tim? Haven't seen Tim. Let's do this. We're at the end, and JoJo the monkey hasn't come to the podium yet. So, and the markets are open. Let's just show on the recording at the very end of today. Open workspace. And let's put the 15-minute and 1 minute up for Timothy from Kenya. There you go. And there it is. And then we'll make it larger. It got into the buy there, but it was pretty much in the sell throughout the night. Interesting. And then it still was in the sell, and then it picked up. Interesting. And that is the 15-minute, and there is the 1 minute. Interesting. Very orderly. I like that. All right, traders. And JA, you hang tight in there. You have any questions, just join us tomorrow, and we'll push some of our ideas after I get my pudding from the nurse here in the nursing home. So, all right, this is Doc from A QE World saying happy trails to you until we meet again, which will be Tuesday. Happy trails to you, to all our trading friends. Later, later, traders. We're singing it. Cool. Too cool for school. Yeah, I would say I can only say good things about John Murphy's book. I can't say anything negative. I know, I mean, it's just the idea that he categorized all the technical tools and gave an opinion on how to use them is cat's meow. I think he was with C.J. Lawrence, so which was it was like Brown Brothers, Harriman, and Goldman Sachs and Solomon Brothers. It was those classic customized operations. So anyway, traders, arrivederci.